Hi, I'm Leon, and today we're taking a look at the Elite 2.0 MotoBlitz. It's been around for a little while, but it seems to be reappearing at a very, very reasonable price. Let's take a look. The Elite 2.0 MotoBlitz is a semi-auto flywheel blaster that just so happens to have an integrated master key, aka a shotgun, underneath it. So I'll go ahead and talk about sort of the most important thing with this blaster, which is that master key. This whole white section of the MotoBlitz happens to be a air-powered 6-shot shotgun. I like to give it about 10 pumps, and then you'll hear it hiss, and then you can go ahead and press either of the buttons. There's one on the other side as well to go ahead and fire it. And it will fire 6 shots at a decent success rate. Not super far, hence 6 rounds, but still a shotgun in any panic situation, which is fantastic. It's a nice little front-loading shotgun with the barrels right here. You can just go ahead and put darts into it. However, you don't need to fully load the 6, which is pretty cool. You can just take your 1, load it in, give it a couple pumps, and then fire. That was around 5 or 6 pumps, and it didn't really shoot too well with just the 1. Although, very honestly, if you put all 6 of them in it, you should be in a much better scenario than if you were to just fire 1. Regardless, the more pumps you give it, the better it will be. And sometimes it will fire pretty nicely. So this thing, the rest of this thing anyways, is a semi-auto bullpup blaster. And the reason I call it a bullpup is because, well, the magazine happens to be behind the trigger and the handle. So, to load, you go ahead and you load your magazine, and you put it into the magwell, which is behind the blaster. So that's pretty cool. And it can definitely take some getting used to, especially if you're going to compare it to your more traditional platforms, where the magazine is in front of the trigger. So this is like the Strife, and you'll load like this. And a lot of people are very used to this. This is a lot more traditional in a way. The main advantage for the bullpup is it just gives you a lot of barrel so your round can travel through, but that's in real steel anyways. With these, it's a much kind of shorter barrel, which doesn't aid performance in the real world. In the Nerf world, this is a lot better than this, because the barrel length is shockingly different. The more barrel on your darts, at least in the sort of casual Nerf FPS world, the slower and more inaccurate they will be. Some barrel length is good, but other barrel length is not at all. And this is a very long barrel. However, the good news is it's relatively wide on the inside. So this is not going to be affecting your dart as much compared to your tighter barrels, like stuff that's on the Strife here. So all is good, right? Yeah, pretty much. The performance on this thing is going to be slightly less than your typical Strife, but that's mostly because of the long barrel length. In truth, these are very similar. In fact, I'd call this almost a successor to the Raven. But it is missing a couple of key components, which I'll talk about now. There is no barrel attachment on this thing, so kind of what you see is what you get. You do have 3 rails, one on this side, one on the other side, and then one on top of the integrated scope. The integrated scope is pretty useless. A couple of sling mounts, which is pretty weird. This blaster is already decently heavy, but you have a sling mount down here, which you can see, and a sling mount on, like, integrated here. That's pretty interesting. But apart from those sort of rails, there really isn't any other ways to customize this blaster. And that's fine. I think this is a pretty complete package. It's super comfortable. And I've actually fielded this one a couple times, because just having that shotgun for that nice little silent approach, because compared to that is much better. And I've definitely corner checked a couple times with this thing and gotten some successful picks. But truthfully, not much else to talk about. It is a semi-auto flywheeler, which means every trigger pull is 1 shot fired, and you can't hold it down for full auto or whatever. Battery door is right here in the middle of the blaster. I am okay with this. It's right above the sort of actual grip, so you'll be... I think it's a decent weight. I do think it's a little top heavy on my hand, but holding it with 2 hands and kind of doing that like comfortable grip, I think it's okay. Feels pretty integrated. I will say it's definitely not as good as the Strife. The Strife feels a lot lighter just because it doesn't have as much going on and the batteries are sitting a little higher. But realistically, if you're comparing the stripe to this, it's fine. It's really whatever form factor you'd want. Now let's go ahead and talk about the magwell, which is on the back of the blaster. I will say, if you're the kind of person who's into sort of reloading, or you're very used to stuff like the strife or any of the other sort of traditional shooting, like traditional magwells, this is going to take some getting used to. A lot of people like to actually offhand reload these. That is using your firing hand to reload, because it's a weird kind of thing to get used to. You can use either or, and the mag release is super accommodating, but you will have to definitely get used to this kind of form factor. Let's go ahead and talk about the mag release. This is a nice paddle mag release. The Fortnite AUG has this button that's integrated, which feels so crunchy and bad. This is one of the better mag releases, akin to the Storm Charge, actually, where it's just a nice paddle mag release. You can access it with either of your hands, and it feels amazing. It feels really, really good here. The mag itself is a standard 10-round banana mag, almost. These are the old 10-round banana mags. This is like what came with the Modulus, the Demolisher, came in the refill packs. All of them have this little bump right here that makes them slightly incompatible with a lot of blasters. Not so on the MotoBlitz, actually. This is a completely flat surface compared to this. That is a really nice change. This makes it so this 10-round mag is actually able to be used much better in blasters like the Storm Charge, which historically have had a lot of trouble with this little nub here. I'm glad they finally got rid of that sort of pointless cosmetic detail. I definitely think it makes the mag feel a lot more streamlined and reliable. Too bad this is the only time we're actually going to see one of these mags, but it is compatible with your standard stuff. There's no effect on the mag release, even with the nub there. So any mags will do. In fact, I'll grab my 15 real quick off of my strife. And the 15 is pretty bulky, but once again is not really affected by the mag release. So this is a pretty universal fit kind of everything, including your drubs sort of mag release, which is fantastic, fantastic to see. Last thing to cover is the jam door. The jam door is going to be right up here, which is pretty integrated into the look of the blaster. Like, I hardly know it's there. And it's a nice little slide jam door too, in case you want to sort of play the tack reload kind of style. I will say that because of the nub being not, like, it doesn't stick out past this, it is a little hard for me to grab because I don't have fingernails, so do be aware of that. However, jam door being open does not affect the performance of the blaster. You can still rev. So, hey, that's pretty cool. I think it gives you more than enough space to clear a jam. I have had this thing jam on me very, very rarely, but in the times that it did, typically take out the mag, move some stuff around, and there you go. You've cleared the jam. And the long barrel also lets it sort of accommodate, like, oh, a dart got stuck here. No worries, just tip it and it will fall out. There's not too much drag in there. That's pretty good. I think I've covered pretty much everything on this blaster. So let's go ahead and just take a look at it firing. Elites up first, then I'll switch to Dark Zone Waffles and Chili's. Yeah, the MotoBlitz is pretty cool for $45. What? It's 20? Sometimes 15? Okay, the MotoBlitz is absolutely phenomenal for $20. Are you kidding me? Yeah, this thing's been at my local Dollar General for a little while, and actually Dollar Generals across the country I've seen it at. That's insane. I don't know why these blasters are in the dollar store. These are fantastic, and I've seen them as low as 15 at some points when they're on sale. That's incredible. I think I paid way more for this blaster, and I was still going to be very satisfied with it. Since I got it on release for around, I want to say that $45 mark, might have been $35. I don't entirely remember, but what I can tell you now is it's $20. That is a very, very good price for this blaster. I would be perfectly happy with $35 for everything you've seen here today. At $20, there is no reason not to pick up the MotoBlitz if you are into this blaster. Yeah, sure, you'll have to get used to the bullpup if you're not used to it. This is $20 for an integrated, powerful 6-shot shotgun, which is the most amount of shots that a single shotgun can fire, and a really, really decent semi-auto offering on top of it. Even if I did have complaints about the blaster, which I don't, maybe the integrated scope's a bit too small, I can save it. This is a $20 blaster. This doesn't really feel real. I understand it's been around for a little while, but I don't know why this was condemned to rot in dollar stores. But that's fine, because now it's so accessible for people who don't have it. And despite it being Elite 2.0, this is a blaster with the screws. Nothing's really clipped together. This is designed to be taken apart if you needed to. People have modified this thing. This is an absolutely insane offering for $20. If you are interested in this blaster at all, even just wanting to try it out, $20 is a perfectly acceptable price for it. I'd even say $25 is a perfectly acceptable price for it. Go out and pick this one up. I don't really have too much to say about it. Truthfully, I like it. I think I'll still be a little more partial to the Raven because the Raven's more customizable. But if you see everything here, this is the complete package. And I highly, highly, highly recommend it. That's going to conclude my review of the Elite 2.0 MotoBlitz. I hope you enjoy what I do around here, and leave a comment if your local Dollar General or dollar stores or whatever has this thing on sale. And let me know how it was for you. I've ran this thing in plenty of games, and it's been a workhorse. It never really lets me down. It's a good blaster to hand to friends who are looking for something with a little more spice to it. So hey, it's got good gameplay from me, and it's good for my people to use, so hey, I cannot hate anything about it. And now it's $20. But if you like what I do around here, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps the channel. And as always, take it easy.